Top GERO 200. All right, we're in week 3. All right, it's Sunday, January 26th, 2025, and we're gonna go right into it. Luckily, my co-instructor Julia Walsh has set Brightspace up so that when you enroll in the class, a lot of people have been enrolling. Okay, new to the class, that you get an automatic email welcoming you to the class that allows you to go and learn how to navigate the course and educate you as how to catch up. If you have any questions, Julia Walsh, she is the course administrator as well. You scroll on down here, and there she is. It's okay. So you email her is the best way. If you have an emergency, you can certainly text us. Okay. All righty. Very, very, very cool. Okay. So these are all the dates right here. For those of you who are new, this is the outline in the class. Okay. And it welcomed you to class. Okay. And it lets you know exactly what you need to do to get an A. Okay. And then each week, module 1, module 2, and then what's up and coming is going to be module 3. This is what I'm doing right now. Will be emailed to you. Be sure and vote for our USC film students for the Doritos commercial they created. They actually get a pretty significant cash prize if they win. So that's awesome. So check that out. All righty. You'll see updates over here all the time. Okay. Obviously, if you're adding the course, Julia's going to set you up in terms of overdue material. Right. So we let everybody catch up for the first 3 weeks, and then we put the hammer down. Right. Awesome. Okay. So you can access the material either through the visual table of contents. We'll be going into generations today. I can click here and get there, or I can click up here and get there as well. Okay. All righty. That's about it. I'm just going to go into it this way. Okay. All righty. Very cool. Now, I do want you to, certainly take notice. You have assignments that will be up and coming. This is the big ones, so you got these papers, and just certainly remember to calendar in. This one's coming around the corner, okay? So it's due February 12th. You actually, I'll be sending out a video on how to go ahead and generate the data, okay? This is the video from last semester where you're welcome to look at that if you are a gunner and you're working ahead of the game, right? Awesome. You just got to follow the directions. People screw up by not following the directions, okay? Please rise. There's no better sheriff in town than Julia, okay? That's what when you have an attorney, that's what they do. They're amazing at finding out who's innocent and who's guilty, okay? All right. So let's just go dive right into this. This is model 3. After this, we're going to do some biology, okay, and psychology, but we're going to get in here to module 3, and we're going to talk about generations, okay? When we get into the actual readings that are available right now, we've been waiting for the Pew Foundation to come out with new kind of political and social ramifications of each generation, and how that's used in terms of marketing and in terms of kind of social and political design. They haven't done it. I'll refer to the one that is available in Europe, just in passing. But these are the generations, okay? A lot of you this is the new one that was just added. This is you guys, okay? And by defining the generations, and everybody's on board and knows what everybody's talking about, then we can just kind of make prediction about what's going down. Here I am, I'm a boomer, but I remember when I was this guy. And as they looked at my generation, sociologists and then communicated with politicians and said, hey, we got a big hunk of people coming through the system and there's no schools. So they had to go about the business of building K through 12 schools. And then that was when, when I was coming up through the system, that was when they started really, really building out the California State University system here in California, and the University of California system. I'm sorry, I'm going to cock that. I had a peanut butter puffin from Trader Joe's, and it's right here, all right? But yeah, they had to accommodate us, and so that's a big deal. And guess what? So they're having to accommodate us now in terms of paying our retirement via Social Security and covering our medical expenses through Medicare. And understanding these generations allows for really, really good predictions so that we don't get ourselves into a pickle, okay? Okay, so my video is going to go right in here, right? Do not forget that you're more than welcome to do the quiz as you're working through this stuff. And then we're going to reflect on kind of a ramification of what our generations, myself, I'd be like your grandparents, because, I'm 68, and then your parents, the Gen Xers, what we've done to your likelihood of being able to buy a home. So it's kind of very, very applied and makes you think about these things. Okay, so let's just go dig right into this. Okay, so we're going to click on this, and this is exactly what you see. I always try and view this as a learner. Right now, I'm in view as learner mode. Okay, and so we're gonna go over 3 publications. They're relatively short. Okay, and I'll give you the skinny right now. And these three assignments, this assignment gives you opportunity, if you would like, to work with different organizations that study populations. Okay, they're called demographers. If you're at the level of public health, then you're looking at diseases, and that's called epidemiology. And there's job opportunity to do these kind of studies. And the Pew Foundation, a big one's called the Kaiser Family Foundation, and they really want to know all about this, okay? Because if you think about Kaiser, it's one of our bigger healthcare corporations, and so they want to know these different trends so they can make economic financial predictions for their large corporation. There's a Rand Corporation. You never know, guys, where you're going to find yourself for a career. So certainly understanding this is pretty valuable. Okay. Alrighty, so that's what this is all about. So we have a couple of articles. The first one is real simple, okay? What we always do is we provide the link. Every once in a while, as you know, links will change or they'll go south. And so we have made a backup of a PDF file that we also post, and that's what this is all about. You don't need to do both, okay? Here's the second article, again with the backup of the PDF file right here. And then this is the third article right here. And you access it right here. And then here's the backup. This one's interactive. It just kind of shows you the changes that happened in terms of, say, workforce participation, male versus female, where you live, whether or not you're a veteran, things like that, based on what generation you are, and basically a time in our history when you were born. Okay. Okay, so let's check this out. So you can see the dates on this. This is 2018 right here, okay? And so we're going to go right into it. And then at the very end, I will reflect down here. This is a new one that was prepared in 2024 by a huge group that is kind of similar to Pew Foundation, okay? But it actually a little bit more, has more giddy up, okay? They looked at U.S. generations. It's a global report on generations. And this marketing group called Ipsos, what does Ipsos mean? It's derived from the Latin term ipso facto, and it's a multinational market research and consulting firm. Sounds like a job to me. By understanding all the issues associated with each generation, and as they transition through different age groups, okay, as they get older, and you're going to be older too, you have a consulting firm that's going to guide you as a business on how to do best, all right? Or as a country, how to do best, whatever it is, okay? All right, cool. Let's get back up here, and let's just take a look at this. So this is like pretty simple stuff, okay? Generations have to be defined. Okay, so this is the president of Pew. Okay, I don't know if he's still president, but he was back in 2018 when this article was written. And so it goes about the issue of defining generations. Okay, and so way back when you guys were born, people started referring to you, and it was much easier from just saying, those kids born in, I don't know, 2015 or whatever it is. It's just say we'll group you all together, okay, and we'll call you Gen Zers, and so your parents were called the millennials, and so do we call you post millennials? Do we call you Gen I? And this was just like doing just market survey. looking at social media and things like that, and Gen Z won out, and then it stuck. Okay, so that's basically you get an agreement of people that are doing the studies. Okay, so that's what it is. All this. Okay, so these generational cutoffs are not always the same. Okay, they're not exact. Okay, we can see Gen X is 65 to 1980. Millennials is 81 to 96, so they may not even be the same number of years. In this particular case, it is. Okay. And then we can see, looking at boomers and how they are different. But anyways, it's roughly the same gaps in years, same era of time. Okay. So we can see, when people were born, 28 to 45, 46 to 64. So that's 18 years right there, almost 20. All right. It just kind of changes. Okay, here's the Gen Xers. So that's a 15-year period, and the millennials right here. Okay, this is a 15-year period, and then this one right here again is a 15-year period. So they're getting a lot more consistent. Okay, it's you guys. Okay, in 2019 you were in this age group, and we can fast forward this by 5 years. Okay, alrighty. So. We've defined it, okay, and then what is the good of all this, okay? We can look at kind of what you grew up with and how that impacts you in terms of your psychology and your sociology and your political perspective, and that's really important. And in terms of approaching that age group in terms of marketing and consulting and things like that, okay. Obviously younger age groups grew up with technology, so you're a lot more savvy. And so when I'm targeting you, I'm going to be aware of that. Okay. Um, and, with the other things we kind of look at, is, when we're looking at this, we're going to get some clues about, each generation and how we're going to, this kind of future political landscape. I think a lot of people were caught by surprise by the last election, and thinking that everybody within Gen Z is liberal, and a lot of the shift in terms of voting had to do with opportunity and a perception of reduced opportunity. Okay, and so people would then, especially white males, basically track to the more conservative route because the perception was because of political liberalism that their opportunity had decreased, and voila, we have what we have. All right. All right, so that's how that works. So it's pretty simple. Read through it for details. And then we come down here, okay? The second article, we're going to look at some trends, okay, that are kind of interesting, and are they being maintained? We kind of check that out, okay? And we see here some basic trends right here, okay? So right here that as we went from the 50s, okay, right here to the 80s, that there was this push to become independent and individual, okay. Back in the day, a lot more people would live in the single, non-metropolitan, more rural, suburban household. But especially if you're a rural household, well, we were all hands on deck. Where everybody in the same household across all generations was helping tend to the farms and things like that. Okay, so people then got educated, they moved out, and we see that then the multi-gen households began to decrease. And then we started to see this slow uptick, okay, that is up here around 25% now in the current climate. And there's a lot of reasons for this, okay? For you guys, while you're staying home, you're finding that it's harder and harder to get a job, that especially in the more metropolitan, urban city areas like New York City, Boston, San Francisco, Los Angeles, where it's so expensive to live. And you're finding that if you can, you're going to stay at home longer. You're that way, even when you do have a job, you can save your money, okay, invest it, and then that will set you up later on to become really, truly financially independent down the line by having the necessary funds to qualify for a loan and have a down payment and that kind of rationale. Okay. The other thing that's happening, I'm living longer. Okay. And so I need somebody to care for me. So that's kind of this kind of generational contract that I'll let you live here. And then hopefully down the line, you'll help me. Or the other part of it is, again, the old school time back here, women were much more likely to have children and stay at home, okay, and they would care for the child. But in the current climate right now, economically, you're going to need two incomes. That means the female of the contract, okay, doesn't have to be married, okay, is much more likely to have to work, okay, and there's a good chance she may make more money than the male in the contract. And so you rely on parents in a multi-generation household to watch your kids while you're working. So these are all the reasons that that are contributing to this. Okay, you see the numbers in millions, and now we're up here into kind of the 70, approaching 80 million range. Okay, we see that we look at trends. We can study each of the different age groups, and we see it in 2016. Back in the day, 72% of U.S. adults, okay, would be married, okay, between 18 and older, okay. Now in 2016, 50, guess where it is now? It's about 30%. 30%. So this is a trend that's changed. People are not getting married. People are working longer. They're deciding to have children out of wedlock. Okay? Awesome. There's a kind of an interesting, because you got to remember when this article was written here. So this article was, 2018, April 5th, 2018. How quickly times change over 7 years. Okay? And so there's a big discussion about immigration here. Okay, so in 2018, okay, it was very different, and then we're here with 2025. Okay, all right. So remember that there was a big push during the first Trump presidency, which was in 2017, all right, of reducing access to immigration by people from the Middle East, okay? And so this is the number of people immigrating, okay, worldwide, okay? But at current times, okay, there is a political movement to reduce access. Okay, and there's always been kind of a gatekeeper in terms of getting people to arrive, but we have seen, okay, that there was a huge increase in visas for people that are international, for education. Okay, we see that all these countries had a big giant burst. Okay, and it'll be just by quantifying this, it allows us to again accommodate and make trends. And a lot of the people that immigrate, come here to get jobs, and oftentimes the best jobs are in the cities. Okay, but however, there can be significant socioeconomic problems when too many people come into the cities and there's not enough jobs. Okay, awesome. So that's what that's all about. Okay, so this is the final part right here, and like I said, this one's kind of fun. It's interactive, and so we can just kind of jump into this. You'll compare generations. Okay, come see how millennials compare their grandparents. Okay, and by doing this interactive exercise, some of the questions that come up in the quiz will be in there. All right. So how millennials 2018. Okay, so I'm hoping that Pew comes up with a new one. Okay, because this thing is now 7 years old. Okay. But either way, it's fun to look at these trends. Okay, and so the way this thing works is in 2017, okay, we can look at rates of, this is looking at races, okay, and we can see that, silent generation, that was my parents, okay, boomers, okay, Gen Xers, we can see that there is increasing racial and ethnic diversity, okay, all righty. We can look at something like male education, okay? So we see that this is, how many people would get bachelor's degrees, but I really like to compare this, okay, to, again, this is, looking at adults. We can look at female education, and we can see that more and more women are getting educated. If we were to have Gen Zs up here, we'd see that it's even further over here. Yeah, I don't know if you even knew this, but I teach a lot of pre-med classes, and more women apply to, and more women are accepted to medical school in the U.S. than men are. Okay, and then there's a different trend in terms of looking how long they stay in the workforce as doctors, just because of social differences and social expectations. Okay. Alrighty, so that's female education. How about male? We can see males in the workforce. Okay, in 2017, got to remember that. Okay, um, and we can see right here that the majority of millennials are employed. Okay, all right. These are people in retirement. When they were younger, okay, you see right there. Okay, so this is putting everybody in the younger age group. Okay, this is 2017. But when everybody was the same age group, we can look at male workforce participation. Okay, it's pretty similar. Compare that to the female workforce participation. I mean, so right there. All right, so you can see that back in the day, grandparents, if you were a female, you were much less likely to work. But it's gone up and up and up, and now we're up in here. We can kind of look this up. No. All right. Let's see. How about Gen Z female workforce participation? All right, so we can see here that Gen Z women make up 53%. So we can see how that is trending upward. Okay, so female workforce participation. All right, all right. Okay. So, anyways, you get to play with this. That's what I want you to do. Okay. You see, everybody got married then. Fewer people there. Okay, this is 2017. This is when they were younger. Okay, 21 to 36. But you can see these definite trends. Okay, veteran status, obviously, it all depends on whether or not there was a war. This is World War II. Boomers, that's me. My older brother was around. He's at the very beginning of the boomer. He was in the Vietnam War, and I was not. All right, awesome. Okay, so that's just something to play with, okay? And this is a reiteration, okay? Millennials are more educated than prior generations, both male and female. And you see the trend of more and more women compared to men. So it's a bigger increase right here over time, all right? This is definition of the generations, okay? And that's it. All right, so that is it for the reading assignments, okay? And one thing I wanted to show is, we talked earlier about birth rates, okay? And you see right here that there is this, trend, okay? That birth rates declining. This is a cool website, US Facts, and I'm kind of tapping into right here, okay? And when we look right here, again, looking at 2005 to and then again at 2023, and the question was asked, and this is the looking at the number of births per 1,000 women sampled, okay? And in 2005, okay, 15 to 19-year-olds, okay, there were 40 births per 1,000 women, and now we see it's gone down here by more than a third, okay? We can look over here, okay? This is looking at 2005. The number of children born to 1,000 women was 101 in your age group, and you see that it's less than half. And you see it just goes down and down. It's because women are finding that they need to work, okay? Or they just don't want to have kids for whatever reason, but it's mostly workforce participation. Even in this age group, prime time, okay? Here, it's about the same. And then what we see here in these older age groups, more women are having children after they have established their careers and are either CEOs or taking their foot off the gas pedal. Okay, and we're seeing it both. When you look at these age groups, we're going to talk about in vitro fertilization because your likelihood of giving birth goes down because your body ages. Okay, both for male and female, and so this is probably due to some technology that is helping in terms of birth assistance. All right, it is a cool website. You can check it out right here. Okay, it's called US Facts if you want, but it looks by states, it looks by changes in states, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cool stuff. There he is, the CEO of the company that owns the Clippers. Looks like Steve Ballmer. Cool. All right, so that's it right there, my friends. Okay. Awesome. Okay, now if you're interested, okay, I am taking this. Again, this is new. You're thinking, big time jobs that are out there. This is a cool website. Oops, sorry, I just took you to the wrong place. Okay, all right, let's go back here. All right, there. What is happening? You know what? For some reason, the link's not working. I'm going to have to fix that. Why is that happening? No, it's not going to work. All right, I will fix that. But anyways, in a second, okay? But here is the actual link, right? This is where it's going to take you to, and it kind of goes over internationally different trends in terms of looking at generations. First of all these names, it's you ask yourself, how were they identified? Do people even know that they exist? And that's what that's all about. It's funny to look at countries around the world had really they don't identify the way we do in terms of generational marking, but it's all good. And are you aware of different generations? That's what that's all about. And then they come down here, and then we look at trends in perception by looking at generations. Okay. So how have we gone too far promoting women's equality in terms of discriminating against women and men? And so male, female, you see this big difference right here. Okay. This is looking at the medium age of the household, and you see it's going up and up and up because of multi-gen housing, and it's really difficult for young people to be the head of the household. All these really cool sociological factors. So check it out, and I will fix that link like now. All right, so and I apologize for that. Cool. All right, so what we did, look at that. I don't know why, but it just did. All right. So let's go back here. All right. We're looking at generations. Okay. And then we're going to do the discussion. And I don't need you guys know how to do the drill. You do one post that's in response to the prompt and then 3 comments on your classmates to get full credit. Okay. With this taskbar down here for my recording device. Okay. So this is really just, looking at the fact that, boomers are living long, Gen X is living long, millennials living long, maybe your older siblings, maybe even your parents by now. Who knows? Okay. And so Gen Z, as a result, if you're living longer, you're not going to be the beneficiary of what we might call death equity. When people die, they pass on their assets to the next generation. Okay. If you're lucky, maybe your parents have enough money they can just throw cash at you, okay, based on the annual amount. You could do that, as we'll get into later on in the class, okay? And so all these people, including us, we got into our house here when we 98, okay? It was, values were cheap for housing. Place cost me $400,000. It's now not quadrupled. So mine is worth 5 times that amount, okay? All right. So what does that all mean? Okay. All righty. So it means that it's really, really difficult for you to catch up. And what do you think in terms of housing? Are you willing to do multi-generational housing? Okay. That's the issue, because you've just been priced out. Okay. What can we do to make it easier so that you can catch up with the system? All right. That's kind of what we're asking about. This is looking at the slump in home ownership. Okay. see the percent of boomers, okay, like myself, that have in 2019 actually owned a home. It's really sadly not that many. Gen X, far less. And you see the millennials, that could be your older parents or even your brother or your parents, okay, depending on when your parents had kids. They're most likely Gen Xers. And then you guys aren't even on there. So right now in California, working age adults, only 17% can, this is looking at the California Housing Affordability Index right there. Only 17% can afford a house. This is in 2024. This is down from 3% from the year before. That was 20%, which is abysmal. Okay, this is the median, so we can line up every house, not the mean. Okay, but the median, every house that was for sale in California, the median was $814,000. Okay, which buys you a pretty crappy house, which is mind-blowing. Right? This right here is your minimum income to be able to pay the mortgage on that median, okay, household right there. And this right here, when we look at this comes out to about almost approaching 30% of your monthly paycheck. Okay, that's what your mortgage would be, right? And it doesn't even get into things like the down payments, things like that. Okay, all right. This is a huge report. It's getting a little dated by Harvard about issues in housing. And some of the big issues they're talking about is housing is increasing. And then we look at people that are retirement age. Okay, we're gonna learn that 40% of America has no retirement other than Social Security, and that Social Security might be $2,000 a month. Okay, and so they're facing cost burden, okay? And we see it's just, it's just going up and up and up and up and up and up right here, okay? So these are the households ages 65 and over in millions, okay? So there's more of us. So this would be up here right now, this 2017. And the cost burden is renters, if you're still having to pay a mortgage, and there is kind of a similar outcome of burn. These are people that they own their own homes. Okay, all right. So that's one issue. We come down here, and this is the number of older adults. Okay, in millions. Okay, this again people over the age of 65. This is 2018. Okay, by 2038. Okay, that are going to be living alone, and we see that. The projection is that more and more people living alone, and the burden of that. All right. So these are all things for you guys to think about. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed the lecture, and it's NFL playoff time. We're going to watch the Kansas City Chiefs. Looks like the Eagles are going to win. All right, guys. Contact us if you have any problems. Peace, and we'll see you next time.